Scientist. This is Soapbox 2020 November group. Now, so like we did yesterday, we're going to do an icebreaker so the audience gets to know you a little bit better and then they can see that our scientists are just like anybody else. So I'll just say hello and to all the audience joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Periscope. Right, our scientists, icebreaker question. You're going to tell the audience one fun fact about yourself because scientists can also be fun and they do have fun. So the first person I'm going to ask is Pharm Ahmed. So tell us one fun fact about yourself.
Okay, one fun fact about me. Okay, aside from the fact that I'm a scientist, teacher, I'm also an interior designer
Ooh.
and a graphic designer. I have a very creative path and I explore it.
Oh, that's
it.
So interior design. Why interior design?
Because I walk into homes and I just begin to mentally rearrange, realign, reassess. And so I decided to go into it. I obtained a certificate and I practice it.
Oh, you actually went for a course on interior design?
Yes, I did.
Amazing. You see, scientists are very creative too. Alrighty. So, Dr. Fabiyi, tell us one fun fact about yourself. Okay. She's going to join us in a minute. Mrs. Lawal, please tell us one fun fact about yourself. Ooh, there we go.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I love Scrabble. I play Scrabble.
Have you entered any competitions for Scrabble? Have you won any competitions? How serious is your Scrabble?
No. No, I also do crocheting, sewing, and other things, but I love Scrabble more. I've not gone to the level of competition though, just within the family.
So are you the champion in the family? Are you the one that beats everybody or they be beating you?
Many times they beat me. Oh.
Alrighty, thank you for that.
A number of times they beat me, but there are times I've beaten them.
Okay, good. So we have interior design, Scrabble. Dr. Salisu, tell us one fun fact about yourself. Don't tell me you go mountain hiking, no. Unmute yourself.
I am aside the fact that I'm very, very timid inside of me, deep inside of me, I'm very, very timid, but I can be a titan when I'm championing a good cause. For example, I can be going on the way, just like a particular scene that happened recently. Somebody's suddenly slumped on the way, area of not touching and everything. And I was almost going to pass by and I don't know, something just came and I just came by, asked for the phone, created scene, you know, nobody wanted to join. I started talking to people, the touts, the law enforcement agents, and I said, look, I am Dr. Mrs. Salisu. This is my ID card. We need to help this person. And I just got AY and I was like, I didn't know until I just started, you know, shouting and we called ambulance. I used my phone. I collected the person's money, I took it. They said, no, they will not carry the person. I said, I will stand by the person. And I started going AY and the tout followed me, the sweepers followed me, and we went to Lascom and I stopped. And even when they got like, you have to pay for this card, I paid. And when I got a particular, I think a consultant that will actually attend to the man, then he asked me that, what happened to your brother? And I told the man, the person was not my brother. And the person was like, wow. He said, just take your money, realize that, did I actually do that? And that happens couples of time and everything like that, you know, when I get to, I'll be like, I have done something extraordinary. I can really create a scene. I'll be like, are you all right? Is this me that I will actually go inside and be like, did I actually do this? So I can always be a titan when it comes to championing a good cause, whatever I believe that is right. You just see me going away. So I can change at any time. Once I see something good, I want to assist. That's it.
Gosh, I wasn't expecting that. That was better than me saying mountain hiking. So we got interior design, Scrabble, and what are we going to call you now? Emergency intervention scientist person. I don't know. We think of something. I don't want to use superhero. That's a bit, but we think of something. Okay. So, Dr. Fabi, what? Tell us one fun fact about yourself. Please unmute yourself. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's any fun fact about me. I
No, there
don't think
must
so.
be.
So that it's other people who watch me that can really say that. I wouldn't really say exactly that this is funny about me or something. The way I think the people who work with me, they know me well, and they'll be able to say something about me.
Okay, what's one fun thing you like doing?
Pardon me?
What's one fun thing that you like doing? Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's one fun thing you like doing? Maybe I'll come back
Oh
to you. So
well.
think about it.
At,
Oh, okay, go on. Okay,
at my
I'll come
age,
back to
and
you, Doc.
I do skip. I skip with my.
Okay, let me go. Let me go to Dr. Samuel. We'll come back to Dr. Fabi. I think the network is playing up there. Dr. Samuel,
Yeah,
one
hello.
fun fact.
Um, One fun fact, I sing, and I had sung contra alto for about 25 years now.
Wow. Wow.
As a matter of fact, today was our choir festival, and I still sang my alto in the store. And of course, I won some awards in dancing. So, well, I can say I dance. I mean, I've done competition in dancing, but I have also done competition in singing. And I think people find it a bit odd. I mean, how do you combine science and something they look at as artistic? But I guess every scientist has an artistic tilt to them. And so those are the two things that I think everybody who hears what I do and why I am my here, they take another look at me. I actually give myself off when I'm dancing and when I'm singing. So maybe those two will be said to be the fun things.
Oh, excellent. So you would say that dancing is in your genes. If you've watched the video presentations of the research, you will get that joke. So dancing is in Dr. Samuel's genes.
I think so. I think so.
Yes, if they don't get the joke, they need to go and watch the video. Let's not give it away.
They have to.
All right, thank you very much. So we have a Scrabble player, we have interior design, we have emergency intervention, we have a dancer, we have skipping. Dr. Folayan, what's your fun fact?
I love meeting people. I love meeting new people, interacting with them. I love playing Scrabble too. And
Oh, you love Scrabble as well. Maybe we'll set
then
up a competition between you and Mrs. Lawal.
I love playing Scrabble. In fact, my husband and my daughter will say, "Mommy, when we play Scrabble, we can't play with you."
Why do you always beat them?
Yeah.
You do. Oh, that's good. Do you use long scientific words?
Oh no, I use normal Scrabble words. And I
Oh,
love
okay.
farming. I love farming. The
You love
garden
farming.
behind me in the video, yeah, the garden behind me in the video is my garden in my house.
Wow, that's a big garden. Oh.
Yes,
So what are you growing in that garden?
I have mango, I have Malay apple, I have African apple, I have plenty of plantain,
Wow,
vegetable, pepper, orange. I have them. I can show
amazing.
you later.
Maybe we're going to start a scientist farm shop
It's good.
so we can sell some of your produce.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, so that's one fun fact about our scientists and research that we're talking to today. But we're going to find out a bit more about them now. How did they get to where they are now? What was their career journey? So I'm going to ask them to give us a little bit more information about that, just in case there's someone watching who would like to do what you're doing in the future, which is the whole point of Soapbox, to inspire the young ones, especially the young girls, young ladies, to get into science. So, Dr. Folayan, from before you got to your farm, before you got to the lab, tell us your career journey. What courses did you do? What did
Oh,
you do?
okay. I started out in Wesley College of Science as a senior student. That's leaving out the primary and the junior secondary school. I always wanted to be a scientist like my mom. She was a midwife and she had a maternity. We usually follow her to the maternity and I see how she helped me. So I wanted to study something related to what she does. So at first I was considering doing nursing, but she told me, no, if I am a nurse, you should be a doctor. So I went on to do, you know, to pick science subjects, and I did well in my senior school certificate exam. But I did not have physics, so I could not enter medicine straight. I had to go for A level. The JAMB also, I mean, when I did JAMB also did not do me well. So I left all of that and went for A level. Unfortunately, I still did not pass physics in A level. So I had to choose between other biological sciences. They presented me with the choice of microbiology, zoology, and botany. My dad had animals around the house, and I loved the dog. I loved doing things fun with the dog. I thought zoology would be interesting. So I picked zoology by myself. I wanted to do zoology because I had dogs and goats and all those animals in my house. So I joined and I found it very interesting. By the time I was finishing zoology, we went on an excursion to polluted sites. And I was like, wow, I want to know more about pollution. I want to study more about what affects the environment. So I went with them, I saw what they are doing, and I asked, what can the biologists do here? And they told me you can investigate more using biological things, living things. And that's how I picked up the project interest. I went back for my MSc in environmental biology and I did a PhD in environmental biology. It has been fun all along anyway because I found myself interested in what I want and what I was doing. So that's the journey so far.
Wow.
And now I work in genetic resources and biotechnology. How I got here, it's another story.
Okay. Thank you for that brief intro about your journey to where you are. So, for those who are, the audience out there, you're wondering what this is all about. Dr. Folaya has said a bit of her career journey. Before we go to the other scientists, I'm going to get Dr. Elias to welcome you again and give a bit of background to what we're doing here today. Dr. Elias, over to you.
Thank you, Auntie Flora. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We welcome you again to Soapbox Science November in Lagos, Nigeria. Soapbox Science is a program where women scientists come to the streets and talk about their science. This is a program that took off in 2011 in London, and in the last so many years, over 1,500 women scientists have participated, and we've had over 150,000 visitors. Normally would be on the streets, in the shopping malls, on the beaches, outdoors. Because what we do with Soapbox is stand on our boxes and talk to you about our science so that you can see that women can also have a successful career in STEM. Sciences, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. But because of the COVID, this year we didn't want to disappoint you. We decided to go online. We are live on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitter and Facebook and elsewhere. So this afternoon we have the remaining 6 scientists. Yesterday, if you recall, we had 6 lady scientists who spoke to you about the various works they're doing in their laboratories. Today, we have the remaining 6 who will also be talking to you and taking your questions. We believe you've already seen their videos, and this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. No question is silly. Every question is important. And when you are asked to vie to come on live with us, please do not shy away. We had 2 students yesterday who were excited to join us. So today we're going to have Dr. Oluwatoyin Fabiyi talk to you or take your questions on soil worms and plant health. We have Mrs. Folasade Lawal, who will take your questions on 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, medications and mathematics. Pharmacist Haishat Olufadi will talk to you and take your questions on how safe is your local beauty salon. Isn't that interesting? So scientists also research into beauty salons. So sit back and she'll take your questions. Dr. Adenike Fabiyi will talk to us about from farm to table, you are what you eat. Very interesting indeed. While Dr. Titilola Salisu asks what is the science in STEM, she will tell you what the science is in STEM. Dr. Titilola Samuel will take your questions on your genesis, how inherited genes predetermine your life. So if you're ready, we are ready, and these beautiful ladies are ready to take your questions. Soapbox Science is just about us talking to you and taking your questions. We're not going to be using any gadgets. We're not sitting in our theaters, amphitheaters. We're coming to you live online. So use this opportunity. We are ready. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elias. So let's continue with the career journeys of our scientists. So Dr. Salisu, tell us what your journey has been to where you are. In between, intervening, as you go along on the streets, what was your journey?
Oh, awesome. I just like I said, my journey started from primary school since when I was young. The timid part of me and the titan part of me always drives me, and that's what has got me to where I am today. I used to be very timid, ordinarily when you see people playing, young girls playing and everything, you always see me at one corner just trying to see, and be like, come on, come along. But when it comes to biology class, science class especially, I don't know, this thing that the teacher will stand and say, is there no volunteer? Is there nobody that will come out? Somebody have to come out. You just see me coming and be like, what? So I don't know. That thing will just push me out and I'll be having fun. But when it comes to other subject or maybe physics, I'll just just see me keeping quiet. Even if I have a question, I will write it, pass it to my friends and the rest. And it started like that. So I became fascinated with science. I've always loved science. And then because of the kind of environment, this part of the world, when they see that, it's either you're a medical doctor or nothing. So that thing has always been, we don't really have this kind of mentorship that we now have now, this kind of soapbox and exposure like this. I'll make you to actually fit, actually recognize where you're supposed to be as a young girl. So we have always been like, so if you're not a doctor, you're nothing. So we always have that at the back of our mind. So growing up, I was doing very well in my science subject. They know I love science. I when it comes to competition on science, I go for this argumentative essay. I will write anything on science. So I was going to be announced as the egg girl then in Ibadan. Then that was the day I was transferred to Lagos. My elder sister came to pick me. I was very sad. I thought that would be all, about going to school and everything. So and coming to Lagos, like I was going to start all over again. Who will be teaching me science and everything. And then in Ibadan, they used to teach us in our local language. So we're enjoying the science. Yes, they would teach us the mathematics in Yoruba. So when I got to Lagos, it was a different ball game. As an Ibadan care, everybody speaking for and everything. I was like, hey God, I think I'll go and learn mechanic. I don't think I can do science again.
Yeah, mechanic is still science.
But because my sister was very, very, very determined to send me to University of Lagos, I will say this, because she was determined to send me to either University of Lagos or abroad. I was raising my nieces and nephews for 7 good years after my secondary school. I did very well. In fact, I got my admission in Zaria in SS2. I did GC in SS2 and I made all my results. She didn't allow me to go because she wanted me to go to University of Lagos. Then she used to think it's either University of Lagos, UI, or abroad or something. So I was there. I would do JAM. I would do I got admission in Yabatech. She did not allow me. I was doing well. So at the time I was like, if we eventually get to University of Lagos, I will make sure I ask them that what is the peak of the academics in this University of Lagos? And say, I'm ready for it because I've already wasted my 7 years. So I was already prepared that even if they offer me Yoruba,
you are going to go.
So I told her, I said, this last time, if I didn't get admission to University of Lagos, I will go and learn mechanic. As in, I wanted to do something different, that Titan and this thing. Like, no, they will not allow, only you will not go and do. I said, I will go. So I got admission. Eventually, I was offered pharmacy in College of Medicine. But they had problem with the accreditation. So I couldn't wait. So I was asked to change course to take either CBG, marine, or botany or something. So I think I eventually even picked marine, but I was offered cell biology and genetics. But because of the mindset I was bringing as somebody who's versatile, is ready to explore, when you become angry and you wanted to just do anything, I took the CBG, later they have started their first semester. They were going to write first semester exam. So, and I did very well, and I got a good mentor, and I was empowered by female lecturers. I was always happy anytime I see a female lecturer talking. So immediately after my MSc, I would go to them. What's the next thing? What do I need? When I was going for my service, my lecturer told me you needed money to come back for postgraduate. So I started saving when I was doing NYSC. I was doing personal project. I went for shoe cobbling. I went to learn fashion designing. I was doing so many things just to save money to come back for my
So you
MSc.
know how to, you did shoe cobbling.
I sold clothes. Yes, I did.
You didn't tell us that when I asked you about your fun fact. You didn't tell us about
I said, I have this tighter in me that I'll be like, why did I do this? Why am I doing this? So I learned so many things. I came back with a lot of money. I sold clothes and everything. So when I came, I told my prof, she's a prof now. I said, she was like, wow. I said I was ready to do. Oh, how many years will it take me to start PhD? And she said, no, just 1 year you start doing it. So I was always encouraged. I'm always fascinated by the female lecturers. So I did my PhD. Even when I had my master, I had MPhil grade. I was like, what can I do? Then I went back to my mentor and she said, I don't mind to take another MS. And she said, no, you can also do MPhil PhD and convert. I said, are you sure? Gain much more. I fell in love with her. After my PhD, I didn't get full-time appointment. So I can see, it's like what I would tell people out there is that for every career you want to embark on, especially as a female scientist, that if you're looking up to us, you always face challenges.
Yes.
And that should always push you ahead.
Absolutely.
I waited like about 3-4 years before I got my full-time appointment as a PhD, after my PhD. But I could say most of the things that I achieved about STEM, I was able to do that after my PhD. I fell in love with STEM mentoring. I came across STEM and I was like, this could have been incorporated in our curriculum. We could have done our research this way. And I fell in love with STEM. And I volunteered to mentor at New York Academy of Sciences free of charge. And that was my first job, if I would say. I was doing it happily, enthusiastically. I was mentoring girls from Spain, from Germany, from Italy.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you.
When I got jobs, so like, so that is the journey. So I just started with STEM. That is.
You've just started. Hey, okay, that's good. All right, we like that. So to all of those who are listening, don't give up. If you really want it, you go and get it. And also, it's good to have mentors. If you know, they say if you can't see it, you can't be it, and that's part of the reason Soapbox Science is here, so that you can see female scientists doing awesome things that you can also possibly do. Okay, Pharm Ahmed, tell us your journey. You're on mute. There you go.
Okay. Well, mine, it's kind of like inborn. I'm this very curious human being. I recall as a little child, I'm sorry to say for all the zoologists or animal scientists here, I used to catch lizards and rats and just open them up and inject them with weird things and just find out how to act. My mom would scream and shout and say, "You're a very naughty girl. You are killing things you're not supposed to kill." And I'll do it the next day. If I inject this one with the detergent and I inject that one with kerosene, what would I see? What's the difference between the reactions? So I got a lot of beatings. God bless my mother. But it's kind of like inborn. I've always been curious. And my father, I used to see him as this walking encyclopedia, and I wanted to be like him. He's a chemical engineer. I just wanted to be like him. So while I was in secondary school, I was really good at mathematics and technical drawing. So I just thought I was going to go into engineering. You know, when they say mathematics, it's Aisha. When they say TD, it's Aisha. I'll get trophies, I'll get awards for those. So it was only natural. But by the time I was going to write my WAEC, my parents filled MBBS for me. I told them there's no way I'm going to be a doctor. I do not want to be a doctor. And then my dad was like, "No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that." While they weren't looking, because then we would fill it with pencil. I erased it and filled pharmacy. If you want me to go into the medical field, I will fill pharmacy. I will not fill medicine. And that was it. I got admission into ABU by the next year. I studied pharmacy. I came out, and initially I thought, okay, community pharmacy is it for me, because I worked at this community pharmacy while also schooling, and it was really interesting to me. When people come in, they tell me their problems, and I'm able to find a solution to their problem. It gave me outright joy. And I found out that my human relation was also quite good. So after internship and NYSC, I just applied to be a lecturer in University of Ilorin, and I got it. In fact, I finished my NYSC in October 2013, and I got the job in December 2013. So it was kind of like written for me to be a scientist in academia. So I did go in almost immediately. I started my MSc, and I was mentored quite well. I enjoyed the teachings, I enjoyed the lab work, and I was like, okay, this is it for me. Although I wanted community pharmacy, but academia is more like it. When I see my students actually understanding what I'm saying, I'm like, oh, so it's actually possible for me to talk and people will understand. Because I think my attention span is very limited. So I didn't even know that I could stand in front of a class and explain things to people and they'll actually understand me. So my journey through STEM has been really interesting. It's had its highs, it's had its lows. I almost quit at one time because I had my first child just before I finished internship. And my second, I was pregnant with her. I had to travel from Ibadan to Ilorin, back and forth. I almost quit. But my husband kept pushing me, told me, you can do it. You're the strongest woman I know, you can do it. And Well, here I am, almost done with my PhD, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh wow, amazing journey. So you see that math and TD, that's why you branched into interior design as well. It's all
Exactly.
connected, isn't it?
In fact, I'm glad you get it. That's exactly why I decided to explore my creative side as well.
So if you hadn't got into pharmacy, you might have been an interior designer,
Yes.
and you won't
No,
be here
maybe
today.
not interior designer, maybe civil engineer.
Oh right, okay, okay. So
I
if you do
married a
civil
civil
engineering.
engineer. Maybe that attraction, I don't know, but I married a civil.
So if you hadn't got into pharmacy, at least you'd still be in STEM,
I'd
and you'd still be
definitely
with us
still be in
today.
STEM. I didn't
Fantastic.
inject those poor lizards for nothing. I'd definitely still be in STEM.
Those poor animals. If only they could talk. Kerosene. Hey. No comment. Dr. Fabi, tell us your journey. What's your career journey been like? I hope you
As
haven't been injecting animals too. Please.
no, I don't. I don't do that. As a child, years back, there's this ewedu when my mother brings it home from the market she buys. You find out that some of these ewedu, some will have balls on their roots, while some are plain. So I started wondering that what could this kind of ball be on the roots of these plants? I asked her, of course, she doesn't know. She's not a scientist. She's in the social sciences, so she couldn't give me any answer. My dad, too, he's an engineer and he's not a plant person. So since then, I've had interest in plants that, okay, what is going on with this weedy plant? So when I got to the secondary school and I was good in biology, all these photosynthesis. So when the teacher came up with photosynthesis, stomata opening and all that, I said, okay, that is more like it. So I asked her, I found balls on the way. Give me an answer. So I wrote the why there was time for jam. So I decided that okay, agriculture, fine. Probably I'll find my answer. So when I'm getting to the university, I focused on nematodes and that was it. And since then I've been so interested. In fact, most of my research has been on iridium itself. So I know and now I know what is wrong with the iridium, why the balls are there and all that stuff. So that is my journey.
Amazing. You need to tell us some of the benefits of Iwedu, but not now, maybe another time. If we have time at the end, I might ask. We've heard lots of things about the benefits of Iwedu. Okay, so let's see what's happening on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. If you're joining us on any of those platforms, say hi and tell us where you're joining us from. We have Chiamaka Ozulumba joining us from Lagos. We also have Chikodili Ozulumba. Ooh, Dr. T from you, right? Also
We're
joining
trying
us from
to
Lagos.
catch
Shout
them
out to all
young.
of you, to both of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
We're trying to catch them young. The young
Of course,
next
yes,
generation of
the
female
next gen.
science.
That's the whole point of this. So thank you for joining us from Lagos. On any other of the other platforms, like I said, let us know where you're joining us from, and we'll give you a shout out. Okay, so let's see what other journeys we have. Pharm Lawal, please tell us your career journey.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, as a little child, I just loved mathematics. Mathematics was just it for me. Right from primary school to secondary school, mathematics was my best subjects, and I was looking to be a mathematician. Along the line too, I loved to be able to help people get well because of my maternal grandfather's influence. He used to gather herbs and make herbal concoctions for people to get well. So he was a herbalist, and sometimes I went with him picking herbs. So I just love that. But I just could not stand biology at all. I didn't like biology. I recall that my first
I
exam
don't
in
like biology
biology,
either.
I had 30-something%, and my father was like, "What is wrong with biology of all subjects?" But then I also had this resilience in me. I could always make anything I wanted to make. To impress him, the next time I wrote biology exam, I came first in the whole school. in the all the sets, just to impress him, but not that I love biology. Anyhow, my focus was mathematics, and my father, like any other person, wanted me to be a medical doctor. Then it was like everybody just had to be medical doctors, but I didn't like it. So I was pushing my career path towards mathematics, but my mom came in strongly at the end of my secondary school, and she said, look, mathematics is not feminine. Please go and do something feminine. And she said medicine was not too feminine. It wouldn't give me time to manage my home. I should do pharmacy. I didn't know what pharmacy was. So I picked interest in pharmacy because of her influence. At least that would save me biology. I got to know that pharmacy was more of chemistry. I could think through to know what I was doing, which I loved. I loved mathematics. So I failed pharmacy, and my father was very upset about it. So my first JAMB result, up to tomorrow, I don't know what I scored, because my father just insisted that I should take JAMB again to do medicine. But the next JAMB, I failed pharmacy again, so he left me. And I went into the world of pharmacy. So I came out of pharmacy school, and I did my internship in community practice. My father's grouse with pharmacy was, he thought in pharmacy you would just, all you would do was count tablets in an envelope, tell the patient take 2 or 3 times, put syrup in bottle, take 1 teaspoon 3 times. I thought that was all there was to pharmacy. I found out there was a lot more, and I needed to prove to him that there was a lot more. So I went into community pharmacy practice very early because I wanted to do something that was patient focused, where I could help my patients maximally without minding what it costs me in terms of money. So I didn't want to work for somebody. I didn't want to be under the urge to bring money in. So I started a career in community pharmacy practice as soon as, well, after youth service, I worked in a hospital for 1 year. Then I went into my own community pharmacy practice, and I didn't know what business was. I didn't know what trading was. So nobody was ready to invest in it. And it was very Herculean, very Herculean. Everybody thought that I would not be able to make it, except my husband, who was really behind me. And he was like, look, if that's your passion, just go ahead. So I started out, and my focus was the patient. What is happening to the patient? Why are they needing these drugs? How would they use it properly? So I started developing all sorts of models within the pharmacy practice to help patients. I found out that there's a lot of multidisciplinary involvement. So I work with a lot of doctors, dietitians, laboratory scientists, anybody that has to do with the health of my patient. I'm interested in working with them. And then the research aspects came in. I was curious to know why people did what they did, or why people do what they do still, or what motivates people to do certain things. Why would people not take their medicines as prescribed? Why are people getting particular ailments and so on? So I started teaming up with healthcare professionals to research into things. And then how else could we make use of what we have to achieve what we need as a nation? Can we do more within the community pharmacy space? I saw that there were lots of opportunities because the community pharmacy is usually the first point of call. So many patients come in there, and what we do with them could make or mar the outcome of the patient. So how can we intervene? There are many people who are hospital-phobic, and they end up in the community pharmacy. Can we do things like diabetes education for the public, for our patients? Can we help in hypertension interventions and all that, pharmaceutical care? So we started working with people to develop different kinds of models. How can we also intervene in antibiotic resistance? How can we be antibiotic stewards? So I've enjoyed my journey, and one of my motivation is resilience. I love to do, when I believe in something and you tell me I cannot do it, that's when everything in me comes out to do it. Like one of us said, she says she's timid. She used to be timid. Yeah, I could be very timid, too, very timid. Many people may not know, very timid. But when it's something must be done, all my energy will come out. Everything in me will come out. Every passion in me. When I started, people were telling me, in Nigeria, you set up a community pharmacy, you're asking for prescription, you soon pack up. I got more hardened inside me to insist on prescription for prescription drugs. And some people will walk out on me, get angry, but they will come back later. Because they just knew that there was something different. There was something that they saw that it was not about their money, and that motivated them. So sometimes they will come back, and then it was easier to work with other healthcare professionals. I will tell them the role. Look, I'm a pharmacist, and my role is about your drugs, making sure that you have your drugs properly, and then simple diagnosis. The complex diagnosis has to be done by the doctor. So I can treat you for symptoms and things like that, not the real diagnosis. You need a doctor. I tell them, you need a dietitian, you need this, you need that. And it's been awesome because I was able to build people's trust among the public, trust among other healthcare professionals, and we work together synergistically with the patient at the center.
Yes,
so it's been awesome. I've enjoyed working. I have also submitted to different kinds of trainings. 18 years after my first degree, I went back to do a master's in clinical pharmacy so that I could be more relevant. I've run my community pharmacy for 31 years, and it's been awesome. I've done trainings in drug information, medicines information, different kinds of trainings, and I just love what I'm doing.
Awesome, fantastic, thank you. So with that career journey, collaboration is key. The patient is at the center. Everybody's working together.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the lab, whether you're in the academia, you're in industry, and the community pharmacy, everybody is working together for the health of the nation. Okay, let's see. Anyone else said hi to us on social media? We have Kosiso joining us from Lagos. Lagos is repping today. Where is everybody else? Let's see some people from other parts of Nigeria and other parts of the world. Say hi to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Okay. Dr. Samuel, tell us your genetic journey.
Thank you. Of course, I knew I would always do science. Science gave me something to look forward to. Of course, I'm not one of those who wanted to be a doctor. Seeing patients was not my thing. But I love the mystery that goes with the other arm of science, where what you work with are actually a part of the patient. I mean, if you are in the biological sciences, you ask for blood, you ask for sputum, you ask for maybe if it's a postmortem, a bit of some liver, a bit of, things from the patient, but patient. So I love that mystery that it gives me. So it was not, I was not in doubt what I was going to do. I knew it was science. I knew it was not going to be seeing patient kind of science, but my heart was torn between pharmacy and biochemistry. Biochemistry because, well, biology was my thing and chemistry was round my corner. I was not a fantastic mathematics person. I mean, the joke then was that I have only managed to know the mathematics that was near. The one that is further is just farther away. That was how they were always making joke of my further maths. It was, for me, I knew I just know enough mathematics. So, well, pharmacy was really not there. I just thought in my head, you need a lot of furthering your mathematics. And so I was comfortable with my biochemistry, which I did. But I honestly, when I finished, I was torn between so many things. But doing science was not part of it. I actually went to train to be a compere, to speak as MC and to coordinate events. I had other things I was doing that was just not science related. But I guess your passion just looks for you. Of course, one day I just sat down and I said to myself, this your love must not die. And so I left all and I came back to do a PhD. The funny thing was that I spent so many years doing other things. And the day I decided to come back to do a PhD, I got pregnant. I realized I was pregnant. And the joke of all the joke was that I chose a title that I thought I was master of. My PhD was a branch of contraceptive technology. So I thought in my head, contraceptive down my line. Suddenly I got pregnant and I thought that was the end. But I got everybody telling me, you know what? You've given up everything to come back to do this, your PhD in biochemistry. You should just, you can't give it up again and go back. And so I stayed. I got a PhD, started to lecture at the College of Medicine, Department of Biochemistry. And here we are today. Down the line, I slightly shifted a little bit of focus from my contraception and then went to genetics. Of course, if you're pregnant, who determines what the child will be? So there's still a linkage between my PhD and what I do now. Absolutely. But that has been the journey. I then, what I thought I was going to leave, I went back to it. So I combine what I left behind. I still talk for a living. I do science for a living. Maybe that's why I sing for a living as well. Everything I do actually revolves around my voice. So I tell people, when they say take something cold, I tell them, no, not for me. My voice is my instrument of office. So here we are. What I left, I have picked up again, and I've carried as baggage to join with my love for my sciences. And so that has been the journey.
Oh, amazing journey. So tell me, do you sing in the lab?
Oh, no, unless you haven't met me. I'm actually something, my head is always bobbing because there's something I'm singing about. I sing everywhere. If I'm driving and you don't know me, you're watching me from across, you'll be wondering, Kilo Nshele, because one music must go. Yeah, what's happening? I sing as a second nature. And of course, fantastic. I talk as my nature. So I am not the timid one. I talk
so it looks
for
like
a living.
We are going to have. You do what for a living? Sorry.
I said I talk for a living. Now, whether the talk is science or the talk is at an event, I talk for a living.
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to have Scrabble club. We're going to have singing club. Which other one? Interior design.
Exactly.
Dancing. So we're going to be busy. So there'll be a life outside the lab, right? So we'll form all those clubs.
Oh, definitely.
Scientists. So if you want to join our club audience, you have to become a scientist. Any part of science, technology, engineering, maths, or medicine. Then we can admit you into our various extracurricular clubs. All right, thank you. Okay, so we've learned about your journeys. Now, I want to ask what a typical day in your role is like. What a typical day in your role is like. And I'm going to start with, let me see, typical day. Dr. Afolayan, tell us a typical day in your role, please. Okay, yeah.
Dr. Afolayan.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Tell us a typical day in your role. What is it like? Once you're present in the lab, what happens?
Okay.
Or before you get to the lab,
Okay.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
My lab activities. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Absolutely. Yes. Go on. Go ahead. We can hear you.
to plan what my day is going to be like. So I spend like 10 to 15 minutes to plan the day. I write down some of the heads to start the kitchen.
Okay. Let me do a shout out while the network comes back. Hello, shout out to Uwa who's joining us from the UK, and Glory who's joining us from Enugu. Thanks for joining us. We also shout out to Chisholm. Chisholm is joining us from Dublin, Republic of Ireland. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Thanks for joining. I hope you're enjoying the session so far and you're learning a lot and we're getting you inspired for science. Okay, Dr. Folayan, go ahead.
Okay. Can I go ahead now?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay. So after I plan my activity, I move on to the kitchen affair, getting ready for the day. I actually wake up earlier than everybody. So by the time I'm halfway into doing that, I go around ringing the bell. Everybody get up, it's time for the day. Then we pray. Then I set out how everybody collects their, it's more of supervisory and also drafting out what needs to be perfected in the planning of the projects that we have. I actually am desk officer for a project on yam improvement for income and food security in West Africa. So I sit to what we have done to get to know what else needs to be done. I continually do correspondence in mail to the partners, and then I supervise the activity within the laboratory. 5 in the evening routine, and then I leave to go to church and then back home. So that's it.
All right, thank you for that. Very, very busy and packed day you have. Okay, let's find out Dr. Fabi's typical day. What's a typical day in your role, Dr. Fabi?
My typical day starts with prayers. My day starts with prayers. So after the prayers, we take breakfast and everybody sets out. I go straight to the farm. So I have a lot of farm fields. I have a lot of crops to supervise. I have a lot of fields to go and take data. Or at times I supervise the people taking the data on my behalf. So after that, by noon, it's already getting hot, it's sunny. So we go back to the lab and do some preparations. We prepare the organic materials that we're using in the control of nematodes. And then whatever we have to store in the refrigerator, we store, control the temperature. And by 4 p.m., 4:30, I leave and go back home. That is my day. I do that Mondays to Friday to Saturdays. It's only my Sundays that are free.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for that. Thank you. Right. We have Dr. Ozolumba who is looking across our social media pages for comments and questions. So do we have any? Let's get them ready, Dr. T, and then I'll come back to you very soon and we'll see what the audience are asking us. We also have Dr. Elias on Twitter as well, checking out what's happening on there. Okay. Pharm Ahmed, what's a typical day in your role like?
Okay. My typical day starts when, like most of us here, I'm the first to wake up in the house. I wake my family up, we say our prayers, we get everybody ready for school and work, and by 8 everyone is by 7:30 everyone is out of the house. I get to work. First thing, I go to my office, drop off my bags and all, then I go to the lab because if our microorganisms aren't sleeping properly, you can't exactly sleep properly. They have to be out of the incubator and into the fridge so that you do not have overgrown organisms. So the first thing we do is actually go to the lab and check for growth, check that what we want is what we're getting, and if we have to troubleshoot, we go ahead and do that first. And some of my students are in the lab already by the time I get there, preparing, cleaning up, because micro lab, you have to sanitize and dust and clear and clean before you're able to work. So the students would have already done that ahead, and then I'll get to the lab. Whatever it is they have done, we look at it together. And then I go back. If it's a day I have lectures, I prepare for my lecture because I'm one of those lecturers that I don't just talk. I prefer to understand what I'm talking about and just teach it. I want to make sure you get it so that I have to get it first before you get it. And then I have a lot of administrative duties in the faculty too. So after my lectures, more often than not, I'm either in the dean's office or I'm somewhere. I'm back in the lab more often than not till like 5:36. If it's a day for practicals, after supervision of practicals, and then we're all back home, we eat, and it keeps going on and on and on, sometimes till Sunday. Because like I said, if our microorganisms aren't sleeping well, you are not sleeping well. You have to go and make sure they're well tucked in, and then you can sleep. So yeah, that's the typical day life.
Thank you so much. I'm scared about those microorganisms not sleeping well.
They're not that scary. They're friendly. They are friends.
Okay. All right. I believe you. Okay. I won't be anywhere near your lab unless you tell me they are really fast asleep and knocked out completely.
They're friends. They're friends.
All righty. Okay. All right. So we have a few shout outs. We have joining us from England. Hi, Mimi. Thanks for joining. We have a comment from Ire on YouTube. Dr. Folayan. Apparently, you're a very busy woman in the lab. You actually sleep in the lab. We're being told that you love your job more than anything. Okay. So you actually probably don't leave the lab from what Ire is saying, but you told us that you go home. Huh? Okay. Thank you, Ire, for that. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Folayan loves her job. Thank you so much. The passion and the love for science is coming through from all the speakers. That's fantastic. Thank you. All righty. Now, I am going to ask Dr. Salisu, from Lawal, and Dr. Samuel, in that order, to tell us a typical day in their role, but time is running fast. So I'm going to restrict it to 1 minute. 1 minute each. Okay, Dr. Salisu, go for it.
Thank you so much. So since it's 1 minute, I will take the role in Ogun State, but when I'm in Ogun State, where I actually lecture, my typical day starts like 3:30. I wake up by 3:30 because I have to spend like an hour to read my Quran, pray. And after that, I take a short nap. I don't really sleep, I just take a nap. I have to wake up again and pray, then cook. I cook. And just like 30 minutes, I go to work very early because I like to read every morning before exercise. So like 6:30, I'm out because I don't like traffic. I get to my office, I read, then go for a walk, 30 minutes, come back. That I go for my lecture. And come back, attend to my mentees, my students, the students project. We go to SATs. If you're carrying the experiment that you want to do, the other farm where we're using the plastics to build the greenhouse, check if they have been weeded and the rest. And then after that, attend to meetings. Sometimes they are called to come and speak somewhere, impromptu call for one speech or the other on science, prepared or not prepared, they just reach out to me, tell me the topic. And so I always have one thing or the other called upon, to come and attend to that. After that, I leave as early as 5:30. I'm back home. And when I get home, I don't eat lunch. Pick my laptop, write paper, put down something, and then I sleep late, like around 1:30 too, because it's when I'm
I'm
back.
counting down. I'm counting down your time. I'm counting down your
That's
time.
my typical day. Typical day. That's all for where I lecture. It's fine.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
my typical day.
All right.
You.
Who did I say was going to be next?
This is Lawal.
Thank you, Pharm Lawal.
Yeah, my typical day, I will pick my typical day before the lockdown, because then it was just me and my husband, and it was a lot easier for me to focus on my work. And it's said that my day starts in the morning and ends in the morning, because I work late into the night. Usually I don't go to bed until if I want to, and I'm up early in the morning, say my prayers and set out to do my work. I love so much in preventive health. I love to be able to help people solve their medical problems. So I have a lot of online groups, and they are relating with me. Sometimes I do home visits to look at their drug therapy problems and how we could resolve them. So I do a lot among my patients. My typical days are usually mostly centered around my patients, and I do a lot of mentoring the pharmacists that work with me, go over their reports, look at what they are doing, oversee the day-to-day running of the pharmacy, the administrative aspects. We also have interest in vaccines. We look at the vaccines. So my typical days are usually quite busy.
Sounds very busy and quite varied, I see.
Very busy. Well, I just love, like one of our speakers yesterday said, when you are passionate about what you do, you don't even know that you are stressing yourself to do it. Sometimes I'm also called upon to come and deliver one talk with short notice, and I love doing slides. So you might see me working on slides till 4 a.m., 5 a.m., just prepare the next speech.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Varied and busy days for each and every person. Okay, so time is going really fast, and we need to get to the questions from the audience. So Dr. Zulumba, so tell me, what are the questions we're receiving across the platforms for the speakers?
Okay, so I'm just getting questions ready.
Okay, you're just getting, okay, so while you're getting them ready, I'll just give Dr. Samuel like 45 seconds to tell us how they have reduced your time. Sorry, Dr. Samuel. Tell us a typical day in your role. Dr. Samuel? Okay. Okay. Dr. Zulumba, give me one, at least one. Just give me one while you're getting the rest ready.
Okay, so we have lots of questions here coming in from the audience. Like it's been amazing. So the first question we have is directed to Dr. Afolayan, and it's from Alice Ugi on Facebook, and she says, "What are the possible solutions to clean up contaminated topsoil, apart from prevention that has already been mentioned?"
Dr. Afolayan, that's for you.
Okay, like I replied on the Facebook, there are several remediation techniques that could be used. We have phytoremediation, which is the use of plants for cleanup. We have micro-remediation, which is the use of fungi for cleanup. We have microbial remediation, which is the use of bacteria for cleanup. We also have excavation, we have thermal remediation, and the list go on and on. But the best then is the prevention. When you prevent pollution, you are saving the future generation the headache that could arise as a result of the dumping of those waste. Because some waste can go as far as several years into the future, affecting the people that use that place where the waste is dumped. So there are several. Phytoremediation, for example, is the use of bioaccumulators, plants that take off heavy metal as though they are nutrients from the soil, and they store them in their body tissues, in their stem, their fruit, and all those other parts of their body. And when these are taken up, they have absorbed this heavy metal into their system. They are cut and incinerated, so thereby reducing the concentration of the heavy metal in such soil. Thermal remediation, for example, is the use of heat to get rid of the contaminants. Chemical remediation also can be used by application of some chemicals to ensure that there's a reaction between the heavy metal and the chemical being added to the soil, just to ensure that it reduces the concentration or it even removes it entirely. Excavation is the total removal of the polluted soil. So the list go on and on. It depends on the nature of the pollutant. That will determine what remediation techniques can be used. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Any other questions?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of questions here. So moving on, this one is directed to Pharm Haishat Olufadi-Ahmed, and it says, does that mean that we should take our own towels and equipment when we're going to the beauty salon to avoid MRSA infections?
Aha.
Okay, with respect to that, I do not think you should go with your own hair rollers, hairpins, hair towels, and the rest of them. What you can just do is to maybe look out for those standard salons where you can be quite sure. You could even ask those that would make your hair, the beauticians, how they sterilize or how they sanitize before they actually attend to you. And in fact, there's some of them, the way they stack their towels neatly, they exchange as the customers come in. So when you see those kinds, you know that they actually take sanitization very seriously. So you don't have to take your things. But personally, there are certain things I take along. I take combs along, and scissors. If we have to trim, I take those two along, but that's about it. I don't take towels along. I do not have to take hair curlers or rollers, any of those things. I do not have to take them along. Then another thing is, if you're going to go to a public salon, make sure you don't have a cut on your head. And even if you do, ensure that it has been properly taken care of before you go ahead and get yourself cut or something. So it's both of us, both the clients and the beauticians. We all have a job to do in this problem. We all have something to do to stop it from being a problem to the customers. So no, you don't have to take everything of yours along. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about items? For example, you want to get a pedicure.
Oh.
Are there any items you take?
Well, I'd say get your own nail file. I have been to a salon where while filing my nails, dear God, they cut me. And if there was any problem there, I might have just gotten an infection. So maybe you should take your own nail file. It's advisable, because you can't really tell when the nail files get very weak, or how do they even call it? It doesn't stay sharp if you continue to clean and wash. So if you are the kind of safety conscious person, then you might want to take your own nail file along. That's it. Then if you do have a cut, for instance, as quickly as possible, you might just want to use cotton wool and spirit just to clean it off. These things, like I always tell my students, they are fearful. They're like scaredy cats. They just might seem like titans. I'm sorry, Dr. Salisu, but they're actually scaredy cats. They fear disinfectants very much. So it's best if you have a cut as quickly as possible, just dab the area so that infections cannot set in.
Okay, all right. I have a comment for you from Ahmed. Prince Olufadi. He said microorganisms are our friends. Interesting find. So this friendly microorganism, I don't know. I'm
They
still
are
not yet convinced.
friendly. They're everywhere on us, so they're friendly. They are friends.
Okay, all right. We have a comment from Ire. We really need scientists to work on Nigerian network so that there will not be breaks in transmission. So we need more technology researchers. We need more, female technology researchers, and we should please advertise this in Soapbox. Okay, so female technology researchers, shout out to you wherever you are. We need you to join Soapbox so you can come and showcase the research you're doing, particularly if it's to do with improved network telecommunications in Nigeria. Get in touch with us, and then we can see what how we can showcase your research. Thank you for that comment, Ire. Okay, so Dr. Zulumba, next question, please.
Yes, so this question is directed towards Mrs. Folasade Lawal, and it says, what about those herbs that people sell on public transport and say that it can cure many diseases? What do we do about it?
We can't hear you.
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Thank you for asking me. Any products sold outside in buses, please don't go there. They can be anything, for goodness sake. They're usually spurious, so just avoid them. If you want information about herbs, see your pharmacist. Your pharmacist will guide you, because not all herbs are necessarily safe. Some of them might just not be what you need. Some of them might interact with your conditions, some might interact with your drugs, and they might not even be authentic. So talk with your pharmacist.
Excellent. Okay. Speak to your pharmacist before buying anything to do with medication.
Yeah.
Don't buy those things on the bus. Is the message. Okay. All right. Let me just check. Any more comments from social media? Okay, we have someone saying that many of those concoctions have heavy microbial load and heavy metal load. So doesn't sound good at all. All right, let's see. Next question.
All right, this question is directed towards Dr. Adenike Samuel. And it says, what kind of diseases can people planning to get married check for in their genes?
Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a good one. Let me just, there you go. Oops. We can't unmute.
Yeah. Thank you very much. There are several diseases that you can check off. And the first is the sickle cell disease. I mean, it's no longer pardonable that if you know you carry the sickle cell gene, for you to go into a relationship with another person with the same gene. There is a probability, almost, if both of you are carriers, of having a child, 25% probability of having a child that actually would exhibit the sickle cell anemia. That's one. Two, I spoke in my talk about the BRCA gene. It's the gene that repairs the DNA. And for as long as the DNA is kept repaired, that means it will not replicate itself uncontrollably. That means that your cells will not divide without caution. And by inference, you will not have cancer. And so, if you want, you could do a genetic testing to determine, am I carrying this gene? There are several diseases that genetic testing is available for. But of course, a lot of those diseases and those tests are still not available within our climate. And that's why we're still work in progress and work in motion to get to a place where if you go for your yearly medical tests, you would have the opportunity at least to do a few of those genetic testing that would help you to make an informed decision in the kind of partner to have for life. Thank you.
So the screening is very important.
It is very important.
Before, yeah, okay.
Available.
What are there any other things to screen for? Anyone can answer that.
No, we're talking about genetic diseases here.
Yes.
Those ones that you will inherit. Oh, there's so many other things to screen for.
Yes, that's what I'm
Plenty
asking.
other
Which are
things
the
to
other ones?
screen
Let's
for.
just give them a few other ones that they can
All
screen
right.
for that they need to think about.
I've told them about the sickle cell anemia.
Yes, yes.
I've told them about the BRCA1 gene. And I have told them that sometimes some people are hemophiliac. You want to be sure that the person you're getting engaged to is not somebody who would have a small cut and will continue to bleed. And you know that when you continue to bleed and your bleeding does not stop, if one is not careful, it then can lead to death. But the beautiful thing about us in the Southern Sahara is that a lot of the genetic diseases that we see in the other climates have not been exhibited here.
Okay.
And so, well, we see it as good, but we also must begin to prepare for whatever eventuality could happen. I'm sure this time last year, we never thought there would be something that would be happening. And Soapbox, for example, will not be occurring either in a shopping mall or near the beach. But it's right upon us. And I hope that we know that even in the developed climate, one of the things they had that was not going right was testing. And that's why testing, you cannot put away testing for anything and for everything. Both the things we will inherit and the things we will acquire because we live in a microbial world, like Pharm Ahmed would say. So that's it. There's nothing you cannot test for, but are the tests available? And of course, we encourage people, go for your normal annual tests. At some age, do it twice in a year. But how many of us do that? Thank you.
Dr. Samuel, thank you. Before you, don't put yourself on mute. Just give us a quick overview of your typical day.
Well, for a typical scientist, like my colleagues have said, the day starts. If I have a lecture, of course I go to lecture. But if I do not have lecture, then it's straight to the lab. We run a genomic lab where we do genetics to genetic testing, but we run a genomic lab. And in that lab, we isolate DNA, we isolate RNA. Just as those microorganisms are funny, RNA, for example, RNA is ribonucleic acid. The other one is the deoxyribonucleic acid. Those are the genetic material that carries the information. They are very, very naughty. So you need to make sure that your lab is clean. And most importantly, that your freezer is working at minus 80 degrees, which is where we can only keep these materials. I have a couple of master's and PhD students, and whatever we ran yesterday, we put our heads together and we run through it. But because I also have the privilege to be the Deputy Director Academic Planning of University of Lagos, I do a bit of administrative work as well. And so if I finish, I then jump to the administrative part of my life. And by 7:38, the day closes and then we begin to head home. That's a typical day.
Thank you. Dr. Salisu, you had your hand raised. Did you want to contribute to the previous question?
Yes, I just want to add to what Dr. Samuel said. about genetics testing. And the good news now is that we are now in the era of gene editing. So if we actually carry out the genetic testing of a particular disease, probably you want to check for the sickle cell anemia, like she said, or the BRCA1 gene, or what have you. If you have a defective gene, now we're in the area where you can actually edit that particular gene using CRISPR. I'm sure it's all around, but we don't have it in this part of the world. Hopefully we'll get there. So there is a good news, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, just to add to that, that when you detect a particular gene that is defective, that can predispose you to something, you can actually edit the gene. And that is where the science is heading to. Thank you.
Sorry, we lost the last sentence.
Yes, I said we are heading towards gene editing.
Just say your last sentence again.
I said we are heading towards, I said the good news is when you have a defective gene that can predispose you to a particular disease of your interest, they can actually be edited.
Yes.
And so the science is now advanced to the extent of editing that particular gene using CRISPR, and it's an emerging part of science. So it's not a death sentence when you find out that you have a particular gene that is defective or can predispose you to a particular genetic disease. Thank you.
And so when does that editing take place? Is it when in the womb or after, or how, when does the editing take place?
No. It's not as simple as just like going for surgery.
I'm asking, I'm part of the audience. I need to understand, because this one you're saying you can edit. It sounds like a video.
Exactly. It's not like you have a piece of paper and you have a scissors, and you cut this side, you remove it. So it is a whole lot of.
Anyway, it's still being researched.
Exactly.
It's still being researched. Let's see where it goes.
Area. Exactly. Okay. So what we can get there, just to expose audience to a new area of genetic studies that one might want to dabble into. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Yes, because there are there are ethical aspects to all these things. So let's just say it's being researched, and let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. All right.
Yeah. It's a good thing that Dr. Salisu just came up, because the next question is actually directed towards her. The next question from the audience. And so it says, apart from modeling, are there other roles that mathematicians can play in managing COVID-19?
There are a whole lot of work. I mean, mathematics is like the wiring. When you have a house and you want electricity, if you don't wire the house, we have a house, you don't have the pipe. So it goes beyond modeling. I mean, for example, even you're cooking, you have to apply mathematics. You want to get the right salt, the appropriate quantity of salt, pepper, palm oil, so that you can have a nice meal. So if you are doing even in a cell biology lab, in a molecular lab, you want to get appropriate concentration of your reagents. So it cuts across. You don't want to have you want to have serial dilution. You want to have 10% alcohol. You want to have 20% alcohol. You want to have 70% alcohol. So it's all you have to apply the mathematics, the knowledge of mathematics to get accurate proportion of whatever you want to use. Even if you want to sew clothes, you have to measure the length. If I'm 10 centimeter, you don't want to measure 20 centimeter. So you have to be accurate. So the application of mathematics cuts across all aspects of life. Every areas of specialization, it goes beyond science, it cuts across arts. You can't do it without mathematics. So they're all integrated kind of knowledge that are applied in everyday life. Even the computer engineer, like she was talking about algorithm yesterday, she needs the knowledge of mathematics. For the microorganisms that Dr. Olufadi was talking about, the growth of microorganisms, how they multiply, how when there's a problem, when there's a retardation in growth, mathematics are applied in all these processes. So it's not just an isolated area that you think, oh, it's just mathematics to calculate. They are applied in every specialization you can find yourself. So it goes beyond just modeling, just to project the spread of COVID-19. It can even be used to monitor how people are responding to the drugs. where you're having resurgence now in other parts of the world, to actually project that, okay, maybe in the next 20 years, this particular COVID-19 will be eradicated, or there is probably there's going to be another outbreak or such somewhere, another type of outbreak, because there's been corona before. So all these things are where you have the application of mathematics. Thank you.
Math is everywhere. You can't escape it. Okay, we have a comment from Uwa on YouTube, and Uwa says there is bone marrow transplant that can change your sickle cell, but she she's sure that it's expensive. He or she sure it's expensive. But we will share the link in the comment box for the audience to read more about the bone marrow transplant procedure. Okay, all right. So, how many questions have we got?
We've got a lot. So we're just
Ooh.
going through the first round of questions. And so we've got one for Dr. Fabiyi. And it says,
Okay.
are the treatments you showed in your video currently used large scale in farms, or are they still in testing stage?
Some are in the testing stage and some are currently used on the farm. So it depends on which plant exactly. The one we used on maize is currently used on the large farm. Also, the one on the tomato is currently used on a large farm, and the one on the ewedu has been tested on several other vegetables. It has been tested on carrot. The one on the ewedu has also been tested on carrots and cabbages. But some are in the testing stage. We have some that are just prototype.
Okay. Let's see. Dr. Fabi.
Yes, please.
Okay. Did you finish your answer? Because I think it froze.
Pardon me?
Did you finish your answer? I think it froze.
Pardon me again?
Your network froze. Did you finish your answer?
Yes, I did. I said some of the materials have been tested on a large farm, while some are just prototype. So, and I gave example that the one we tested on maize and tomato have been tested on a large scale farm, and then the one we tested on the ewedu have also been tested on carrots and cabbages on a large scale.
Okay. Excellent. So I hope that answers the question for the audience who asked the question. Okay. Dr. T, fire us another one.
Yeah.
We are on a roll. We are on a roll. So let's go.
Yeah, it's good that we have lots of different topics being talked about today. So like now we're moving from nematode research back to antimicrobial resistance. So this is a question for pharmacist Olufadi-Ahmed, and it says, because you talked about MRSA before, and someone just asked a simple question: what is MRSA?
MRSA is just the acronym for methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. Now, I'm sure almost every Nigerian knows what Staphylococcus aureus is. This is because if you go to any park, you just start hearing gonorrhea, Staphylococcus aureus. Everything that is wrong with you, Staphylococcus aureus. But Staph aureus is actually a microorganism that kind of resides naturally on the human body. You know, staph epidermis, they reside on the skin. We have Staph aureus in our noses, on our skins, and they're just there. They are on your skin. They have no issues with you. In fact, they exist there kind of like to assist in pH balance on the skin. It's part of the reason why you even glow sometimes. You have to have a normal flora. Yes, you have to have a normal flora to balance the pH of the skin and all of that. Now, because of the activity of you and I, sometimes we use drugs at sublethal doses. This means that when you're given an antibiotic and you're told to use for maybe 5 days or 7 days, maybe 500 milligrams 3 times daily for 5 days or 7 days, some people could just use it morning and night. For 3 days, they'll feel better and they dump it. That means you're exposing these microorganisms or this Staphylococcus aureus to sublethal doses. Now, some of them now mutate. Let's say mutate, yes. and they're able to acquire genes that encode for resistance. Because you've exposed them, many of them would die. Those that wouldn't die, the survivors would kind of be able to resist the activity of the antibiotics next time. So now the MRSA are the methicillin resistant staph aureus. Penicillins is a class of antibiotics that is actually targeted usually towards gram-positive, and they are broad spectrum, but they are very active against gram-positive organisms. So when they are resistant, they're usually resistant to an entire class of penicillins. And when this happens, they're very difficult to treat. Most of them are multi-drug resistance. When they get resistant to the penicillin, they become resistant to various other classes too. And when this happens, the ampiclox, ampicillin that is prescribed in the hospital, they don't work anymore. And if this happens, that means that the microorganism I have, if I have it in a boil and then it exudes pus, and somebody has kind of contracted, that person too can also have this MRSA, which will be difficult to treat. So methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus is Staph aureus like we know it, harmless Staph aureus, but with muscles. They're super, yes, with muscles, because now they can't be swatted away very easily with they are very easy to cure. Staph aureus infection is very, very easy to cure. Unfortunately, MRSA, and there's also another subtype called VRSA, vancomycin resistant, which are even a bit worse than MRSA. They are not so easy to cure. And the fact that they're even in the community is why I have special interest in them. If they've left the hospital and they're not in the community, they can be found almost anywhere. So MRSA is just methicillin resistant Staph aureus. It's a super bug or a super variant of the Staph aureus that we know. That's about it.
Wow, MRSA does not sound friendly. You said you had friendly microorganisms. They are not friendly. As
well,
we say in Nigeria,
should be friendly.
They are not smiling.
They are not smiling
They're
because
not smiling.
we humans have done the wrong thing. We have humans feeding our cattle, livestock. We have them feeding them antibiotics to fatten them. We've been doing a lot of messed up things as humans, and we're seeing the results.
Yeah, so we need to correct a lot of things.
We have to correct a lot of things.
So we need more help. We need more researchers. We need more help to correct all these things.
Not just researchers. We need more teachings. We need to teach people how to do their own parts, so that we don't create more superbugs. We need to enlighten people more about how their actions are actually affecting the microbial world and the others around them. We just need to let them know. A lot of people do not know, but they need to know.
I think, yes, we have a program coming up on that, but yes, let's leave that for now. Yes, I agree with you. Everybody has their part to play, in making things and changing and undoing some of the bad things we've done previously. Okay. Dr. O.
Yes, still on the subject of drugs. So we have this question for Mrs. Lawal, and it says, what if you start taking a drug and you notice a reaction? Do you stop taking it immediately, or do you keep taking the drug until you can see a doctor?
Oh, that's a serious one.
Yeah, let me thank you for asking me. Taking any medication, is good for you to be familiar with what reactions might occur and what to do when they occur. There are some reactions that are mild enough and you might not need to stop taking the medication. There are some that you might need to contact the doctor before you stop. There are some that you might just have to stop immediately and then contact the prescriber. And then you can always engage your pharmacist. Anytime you are filling a prescription from the pharmacist, ask questions, get to know what side effects to expect, what adverse reactions might happen, and what to do with them, or what to do about them. So.
Yes, that's true, because some reactions can be fatal. So it's important to sort it out ASAP. Okay. Any comments from our audience on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook? Any comments about what we've been discussing so far? from the audience? And if you've just joined us on social media, say hi to us and tell us where you've joined us from. Okay. While I wait for that. Oh, okay. I have a comment. 1 second. Oh, so someone is saying they went to buy catfish recently and saw drugs in the fish water. And she asked, and they said it's tetracycline and it's for calming the fish down when stressed. And the person is asking, is this even right? Who wants to take that? Okay, go on, Mrs. Lawal. I can see Pharm
okay.
shaking her head as well. Mrs. Lawal, you go first, and then we'll
Yes.
go to Aisha.
Yeah, okay. Those are the drivers of antimicrobial resistance. And it's really sad the way antibiotics are grossly misused in our country and probably the world at large. So these people need to be educated. They need to know that you don't use tetracycline to calm down anything. Tetracycline is antibiotics and must be appropriately used. So this is misuse of antibiotics and they are driving antimicrobial resistance.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pharm Ahmed, what do you want to add?
Those ones that feed their catfish and cattle antibiotics, and the people that believe if you use bicham ampiclox, it will act as contraceptives, they are part of the problem. They are the ones giving us headache now. My E. coli, they are busy exhibiting funny things in the lab. They are the reason. And you and I are the reason. We're all the reason. In fact, I'm sure there's some of us amongst us here that haven't finished our dose of antibiotics. So this is why we have a huge problem. Antimicrobial resistance is a problem, a big problem. And we hope to God we're able to curb it quite soon.
Oh, we have a lot of work to do. Each and every one of us. Each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's the beauty of the platform Soapbox Science. So getting researchers to share science with the public. So that way we can better educate people on, some of these things. And speaking about education, this question is for Dr. Adenike Samuel, and it says, how can we educate people better who think that having a male child is the responsibility of a woman and not the man?
Yeah, thank you very much. We will continue advocacy. I know that in Nigeria, a male child is seen as a trophy. And there are some people that it does not matter the number of children you have. Once you still do not have a male child, you do not have a trophy. But they forget to know that who gives the male child? It's the man. And half of the time, it's the man's family that is actually harassing the woman. But to have a male child, it is absolutely the responsibility of the man. We carry XS chromosomes, the man carry XY. If he gives out his X, I hope we remember I said we can only give half of what the man has. And the woman brings X. I mean, the woman has XX, so she will just bring one of the X. If X from the man and X from the woman comes together, it's a girl child. But if by a stroke of good fortune, the man's Y chromosome meets with the woman's X chromosome, then it's a male child. So the responsibility, whether you have or you do not have, stays with the man. We can only continue with advocacy. And I know that gone are the days when people think that, oh, having a female child is a liability. Pardon me to say, aren't we all female here? And we've been doing exploits since, if you heard yesterday, you've heard today, we are no pushover. Whatever the male counterpart could do, I'm sure we're actually replicating it and doubling it up. So, but we will continue advocacy. There is nothing we can do than to begin to advocate and educate our males that whether you have a male child or you do not, absolutely rests with the man. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I hope that answers the question. That it absolutely rests on the man in terms of determining the gender of the baby. Dr. Ozulumba, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. So I think I just got carried away with listening to. Yeah, I think it's really important, like continuing the work, advocacy. Yeah, so we're going to switch because we have such diverse topics today. So we're going to switch the questions back from advocacy and genetic testing. We're going back to soil worms and plant health. This question for Dr. Fabiyi, and says, thank you for your interesting talk. I heard in your video that you prepared nanoparticles. Please, what do you use those particles for?
The nanoparticles are also they are antimicrobial, they are nematicidal, they are used in the control of nematodes as well. It's safer than the synthesized, that is detrimental to the environment.
Just to follow up to that question, can you explain what nanoparticles are, and also explain the type of nanoparticles that you produced?
We have produced several types of nanoparticles. So, and then we produce them by mediating through green synthesis with green materials, safe alternatives.
Okay. So are they like small, or because when I hear nano, we think of small. So is that what it means?
Yes, nano, they're very small.
Okay.
Very, very small. And this makes it active. Their size makes them active.
Okay, so they're small size. They're able to maneuver, faster and quicker. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, making them more active.
Right.
Okay, we have a comment regarding the man determining the gender of the baby. An analogy that we can use is a man is a farmer who can only sow corn or beans on the fertile soil of a woman. You cannot sow corn and expect to have it beans and vice versa. So that's a good way to remember regarding chromosomes and who determines the gender. Let me say it again. A man is a farmer who can only sow corn or beans on the fertile soil of a woman. You cannot sow corn and expect to harvest beans and vice versa. Thank you for that, Pharm Ahmed. Thank you for that. Okay. Any more? Time is running out. How many more have we got? How many more can we accommodate?
It's so interesting questions. Like I get carried away and I'm just listening to the answers. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so we've moved back from nematodes and we're going to Dr. Afolayan. And this question is from Alice, and she says, I think she's referring to contamination of soil, and she says, would bioremediation, would it be a possibility, or does it only work for petroleum products, solvents, and pesticides?
Bioremediation works for heavy metals too, and it works for any toxic additives to soil, especially those within the topsoil and the subsoil, where most of the roots of plants, especially the one we use for phytoremediation, can fibrously grow and quickly absorb for removal. So bioremediation works beyond just petroleum products and all that. It also applies to any additive that is toxic to the.
Okay. Can we have another question while the network comes back for Dr.
Okay,
Afolayan?
sure. This one is I think there's a lot of interest on the bacteria and superbugs side of things today. So this says, also, this question is from Olufadi Prince, and it says, for the MRSA, do the symptoms of infection match the symptoms that we hear from the local announcers? I think it's referring to the people that sell drugs on the public transport.
Oh God, no. No. Staphylococcus aureus, that poor organism has been wrongfully accused of so many things. It's been wrongfully accused of many things. Infertility. Okay, although if it does find its way all the way to the uterus, it can compromise fertility, but it's not a primary cause. It's been wrongfully accused for gonorrhea, and gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. Staph has nothing to. It could actually cause UTI. It could cause boils. It could pose other kind of problems, but God, it's the symptoms are not the same as those ones advertised. Those ones are just trying to sell their herbal product. So they would blame anything that comes to them. And you know, Staphylococcus aureus, how many syllables? Staphylococcus aureus. It's like 8 syllables, very large. You know, when the common man hears you have Staphylococcus aureus, you know, they are already scared, and you tell them, use this thing, it's going to heal. So I think that's why they just lie against it all the time. But no, please, the symptoms are not, they are not alike in any way. No.
All right. That's great. We have a comment from Josephine again about, you know, drugs being sold where they shouldn't be sold. We need government intervention to stop the sale of some medications without a doctor's prescription. Yes, there's a big need for intervention there.
Folasade, Pharm Lawal can actually bear witness that PCN, PSA regulatory bodies have been trying. I think I'll allow her to take this one. Regulatory bodies have been trying. Let her take this one.
All right, Pharm Lawal.
Yes, I didn't get that question properly.
So there was a comment about that we need government intervention to regulate drugs being obtained without prescription.
Yeah, there's the regulation. It's the enforcement that we need to on, and collaborative practice that we aid in enforcing enforcing that regulatory aspect of the practice. So the laws are there, actually, we have them. What we need is to make sure that these laws are enforced. And like I said, we need also to look at why these things are not what they should be. And then we can now look at how to make sure that the right things are done. I know that collaborative practice will go a long way to promote or to enforce such laws.
All right. Thank you. So we need enforcement of the regulations that are already in place. And maybe that would improve things in terms of drugs being sold when they shouldn't be, when prescriptions are required. Okay, thank you for that. Dr. O?
Yeah, so
last question.
Yeah, last question.
Yes, last question.
It's been so interesting, but
It has been. Thank you. The audience has been really fantastic today.
Yeah.
But because of time, this is our last question.
Okay, so this last question is from Adero Rohumusari, Folasade Temitope, and it's directed to Dr. Salisu. And it says, how do we, I think it's because of her STEM mentoring activities, and it says, how do we satisfy our parents when their choice of profession is different from ours as individuals?
Wow. Okay. Now, you can only satisfy your parents when you do very well, very, very well. You know, if you don't prove them wrong, they will not see the beauty of whatever you want to embark on. So whatever you want to take up in life, be it STEM, science, any area of science, you have to do exceptionally well. Look at the examples of this wonderful female scientists you are looking at now on this Soapbox platform. I mean, this is about the first platform you see a whole lot of female science, like up to 12. I mean, you used to have mentoring program, maybe 1 or 1 or 2, but I mean, look at the number of female scientists you have opportunity to look at once and listen to their diverse areas of specialization. Look at Dr. Same, she's wonderful. When she's speaking, I always admire MC area or part of our life. I used to like, am I sure this woman is a lecturer? Am I sure she's a biochemist? You know, you look at her, you'll be wondering. I've gone online to check the lead of this program, look at the profile. I was like, how are they doing this? You know, so you have to be, and it goes back to what I've said earlier. When you look at the wonderful mentors like you have on this platform, you go and check their profile, see how they started their career, like we have shared here, and you have to see and determine to be exceptionally good at whatever you want to do. Whether you want to pick on plants, soil, tech, mathematics, computer, anything, whatever, anything at all, you have to be exceptionally good. You get to the peak of it, and don't freeze yourself. Spread your tentacles. That does not limit you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Somebody can sing, somebody can play Scrabbles, somebody's ear controlling what we are looking at, and it's also a scientist. The person have a lab. So just be exceptionally good. Look for good mentorship, and the sky is not your limit. You're just going deeper. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. The sky is not your limit. Thank you for that. Thank you. The sky is not your limit. I like it so much. I'm going to say it again. The sky is not your limit. Thank you. Thank you. That's fantastic. So we can't take any more questions, unfortunately, because of time, but I will hand you over now to our lead organizer, Dr. Annie Durango, and she's going to say a few words and make some announcement. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Soapbox Science Lagos November 2020 event. Can everyone hear me? I just like, oh, great.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much for attending the event. It has been an amazing experience, you know, hosting these leading female researchers in Nigeria, from soil worms to ewedu, from farm to table. So many exciting areas of research. And I'm sure that as a member of the public, you have truly enjoyed listening to all of our leading scientists based in Nigeria. So we've got people from Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ilorin, Ibadan. We've got people from Lagos State University. We've got people from University of Lagos. Is there anyone I've forgotten? Please put it in the chat box so I can give a shout out to your institutions. Now, moving forward, so somebody has typed in there, wait, let me just look for it. Okay, I'll look at that in a minute. I would really love to thank our sponsors. You know, Soapbox Science would be way more difficult to bring life to you without these our sponsors: Elias and Associates, Alpha Pharmacy and Clinic, Successful Students Mentoring, Encapsulate Healthcare Solutions. Thank you so much for seeing the value in Soapbox Science Lagos, you know, and supporting us in different ways, from our lab coats to our internet connections and a lot of other areas of expertise. So I'd just like to give you a lovely clap. I see like there are different emojis popping up on the screen, and I just want to say thank you for that. You know, it's been so amazing. In the last year, we were also supported by individuals as well, pharmacist Uwa Obaze, you know, we've got Juliet, Bademosi, who supported our media. We had Maltina, Nigerian Brewery. So I'd just like to say thank you. We had the Adeniro Ogusoya Mall, where we were able to have our live event last year. And I'd really love to say thank you so much for supporting us and partnering with the Soapbox Science Lagos, Nigeria event. Okay, fabulous. So for now, what I'd really also like to talk about is our next year's event. Yes, we're starting early, very early. We're already seeing in the chat box a few people talking about they want their family members to come on the Soapbox platform. So thank you, speakers, for inspiring other people who would like to participate. And I forgot one other sponsor from last year, that is STEM Jets. Thank you so much for your participation last year, enabling us to bring Soapbox Science to Lagos, Nigeria. So right now, Are you a researcher, an active researcher in the area of science, technology, engineering, maths, or medicine? And you would like to come and share your exciting research with the public. Like today, you have heard of the XY chromosomes. You've heard of what else? You know, why the Y chromosome is important. The man is the one who determines the male or the female. You have heard about the safe use of different drugs. You have heard about our champion, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. You have heard about the need for maths, algorithms from your table, contaminated lands from the farm, and how that impacts your corn on the cob that you chew, that roasted corn, that boiled corn that you're chewing. Did you know it could be contaminated? So that's why we're all needed for all the environmental care in Nigeria. So technology, somebody mentioned about the shaky internet. We need all you technology researchers to come and tell us what it is you're doing in Nigeria. Be a speaker in 2021. Email us to register your interest at soapboxsciencelagos@gmail.com. And right now, going up in the comments box, a member of the team will be posting this right now, is our feedback forms. Would really love to hear from your attendees how you have found Soapbox Science Lagos November 2020. Please click on the link. It should take you about less than 10 minutes to tell us how we did, which speakers you really enjoyed listening to. You motivate them to come again next year. You know, we had yesterday, you know, our first set of 6 speakers yesterday, and today we've had our second set of 6 speakers. So just in case you did not see somebody yesterday, you were wondering, why did my speaker not talk yesterday? That's because we had to have 2 sessions so that we don't keep you here for too long. All right, so please fill the feedback forms so that we can hear from you how you can improve, what you loved, and all of that spicy stuff. Okay, so we'd really love to hear from you. And I think without much ado, I'd like to say, could everyone please just put their hands together for all our speakers? Thank you so much for participating. It's been an amazing experience with you all. And I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the team. And also another round of applause for our audience who have been online watching for the past 4 days. How amazing. Thank you so much. And with that, could everyone unmute themselves and just wave to all our audience? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The chat box.
Thank you.
Your question has not been answered. Our speakers will be going online and just answering your questions. If you want to contact one of them for collaboration, for mentoring, please drop an email to soapboxscience@gmail.com and we will forward it directly to our speakers. Thank you so much and have a lovely evening. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.